Hello, this is Phil from underKG.com. Today we got Samsung Galaxy S5 active. So Samsung had an idea of the active version starting from the Galaxy S4 active, which was a waterproof and dustproof version of the Galaxy S4. But now that the Galaxy S5 already is waterproof and dustproof, then why is this here? It's because it's already waterproof and dustproof, but it's got a mil-spec built in. So now it's more rugged, and now it's more safer to run around the outside environment. So let's take a closer look at it. It's got a receiver on the top, 2-megapixel camera, front-facing camera, 5.1 inch of a full HD AMOLED display, multitasking key, home key, and the back key. They changed the multitasking key and the back key to the hardware key instead of the touch key that they used to have. And home key right here does not have that fingerprint recognition sensor that the Galaxy S5 has. So this is probably the only Galaxy S5, one of the Galaxy S5 series that does not have the fingerprint sensor built in. Aside from that, on the right is a power key, and those patterns we can see that this indeed is a ruggedized phone that complies with the military standard 810G. And it's got a top 3.5mm headphone jack with the infrared port right there for your remote controller. On the left is there's a key right here. That's an additional key aside from the previous Galaxies. The volume rocker here is the usual, but here is the active key. You can set two shortcuts, one with the short touch of the button and the one for the press and hold of the button. So two shortcuts there, and you can also use this for the shutter key when you're taking photos in the camera. Following to the bottom is a micro USB port right here, sealed in a cap. So this is a waterproof phone. So there are phones without the seal that micro USB port is waterproof, but they decided to just have a little flap here, so it's completely sealed against the water. So make sure to close that. And as you open and close this back and forth, the sealing right there is probably going to get worn off and reduce your waterproof functionality. So other manufacturers like Sony has an idea like a magnetic dock right here, so you can wireless charge your phone, but it doesn't seem like Samsung has an idea for that, just not yet. The Galaxy S4 didn't have a wireless charging, and this guy doesn't have it either. So that's a little surprise here. But finally, they're going to come up with something. There's a 60-megapixel camera on the back with the heart rate monitor and the LED flash right there. It's still there. AT&T logo, Galaxy S5 active logo, and the speaker grill right there. Those four screw-likely figures are just decorative. They don't really do anything. They're just totally aesthetic. And the battery cover is detachable, giving you access to the micro SD card slot and the micro SIM card slot. They're expandable to 128 gigabytes. And the 100 milliamps, 100 milliamps of battery is still there. So this is replaceable. So if you need one more, you're gonna be able to do that. The waterproof sealing here prevents water to go into the phone. So make sure to close your battery cover tightly so the water doesn't go inside. There are lots of latches there, so make sure to press every single part of it, or the water is actually going to come and make your phone submerged into water. And the back here we can see the camo pattern. That's so I have a little uniform from my past. But anyway, so there's that's the Galaxy S5 active. Let's take a look with the comparison with the other phones right here. This is another waterproof phone, Sony Xperia Z1. And it's almost identical in its physical size, and yet this is 0.1 inch bigger, and the bezels are a lot slimmer here too. And it's also got a hardware key, while the hardware keys take up some of the space out of the Z1. And comparing with the original Galaxy S5, this is a dummy, but you can see the point. Compares like that, and we can put up LG G3. Whoops. LG G3 right there with a bigger screen, 5.5 inch, 5.1 inches, and same 5.1. Well, the front face of the modern smartphones don't really show much of the differences. What it does is the back covers. We can see that there is a noticeable changes in the back. So let's dive right into the interface. So lock screen is the usual. There's weather, there's pedometer, and there's clock. So you can unlock, and here's the usual TouchWiz interface. There's nothing much to focus on. This is the usual TouchWiz with the magazine, My Magazine on the left, and the app drawer, and the notification bar, those shortcut icons, they're all the same. What the Active has as its specific feature is the Active key that I mentioned at the earlier. There's short press, long press. You can dedicate 2 apps to it. Originally, it has Active Zone, which we're going to deal with right after, and it's got a capture with the Active key. So in the photo, when you're taking photo with the camera, you can click that to take a photo. So we're going to dive into the Active Zone. So Activity Zone right here is combined with the barometer, compass, flashlight, and the stopwatch, and the shortcut to the S Health app. Rest of the functions don't really interest me for now. Barometer, compass are there, and these have more of a specific information on when you tap to their specific namings on the left. You can swipe, and there's a flashlight. Flashlight doesn't seem like a interesting feature on the first, but you can turn on the flashlight and it gets brighter. And this is the brightest flashlight I've ever seen on the phone. This is actually probably as good as the one of those cheaper standalone flashlights sold in the market. And what you can do is you can make this blink, or you can make them blink faster as an emergency usage, or you can make the screen, use screen as a flashlight, and you can even make these blink. And there's a Morse code, so if you want to say save me, it's going to do that in Morse code. So those are one of the interesting Activity Zone, the Active specific functions. Let's go into the everyday cell phone usage. We're going to jump into Nova Launcher, which is my favorite. We're going to take a look at CPU-Z. It's got a Snapdragon 801, which is pretty much the standard for the high-end smartphones nowadays. Snapdragon 801 quad-core running at 2.46 GHz. There are 4 cores, of course, with 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of storage, which is expandable through the microSD card slot. And these are the normal specs of this guy. We would be happier if it got a 3 GB of RAM and the Snapdragon 805, but for now this is running totally fine. Surfing around the web, whether we go to full browsing, whether we go to a full-scale YouTube page, it runs totally fine. It's smooth as it gets. And performance-wise, AnTuTu run at around 36,000, which is a very decent score for Snapdragon 801 device, and it's basically amazing. The display itself is another feature that was very interesting. So display is, of course, as good as it is, but as a activity specialized phone, it has a legibility function. So when you're in direct sunlight, give it a few seconds. So we're going to go to CPU-Z, make the brightness auto. So there's sensors, and there's a ambient sensor. So when it's bright enough, we're actually simulating a direct sunlight. It's going to get bright, and it's going to wash out all the colors and make the colors very, very, very sharp. So its legibilities get enhanced when you're standing under the direct sunlight, and it helps a lot. As an AMOLED display, this is probably the best display with the legibility at the direct sunlight. So when the sun is gone, it's going to turn its color back like that. It's a very interesting function. As an activity specialized outdoor ruggedized kind of phone, this is very, very crucial. So aside from that, the screen itself is really terrific. It's probably one of the best, but it does have some of the, when you go to the darker spots and the darker colors, there are some of the, say, washed out kind of, the black is not exactly clear. But that could be a minor problem, that could be a quality control problem, it could be only my unit, but there was a little bit of problem. But so aside from that, display is almost perfect. And sound quality is amazing. As a even as a waterproof phone, speaker is totally great, and the sound coming from the 3.5mm headphone jack is totally amazing. And the camera is also good. Talking about the camera, we're gonna actually try to dive this in to water that we have right here. So we're gonna launch a camera, and we're gonna dive this in. So it's submerged, so it's underwater, and you can use this key, active key, to take photos even submerged in the water. And of course, since all those keys are hardware keys, even under the water, you can use those keys to control your phone. If you have set the the home key to answer your call, when your touch screens don't work like that, you'll be able to answer your calls by tapping on the power key and hang up by pressing that power key. So overall, as a ruggedized phone, it runs amazingly great inside the water as well, of course, as it is designed to. What did disappoint me a little bit was the battery life. The battery life of the Galaxy S5 was totally amazing. It's probably the most longer lasting battery in the modern market, but this guy kind of stood a little short behind the Galaxy S5. It's still great. It's still one of the top battery life smartphones in the market, but it's slightly shorter than the Galaxy S5. Otherwise, its camera is amazing, sound quality is amazing, the build quality and the level of how rugged it is totally amazing. So if you're an activity kind of guy, if you're outside activity kind of guy, you'll totally love it. Or of course, you can simply like it because of its design and the amazing pattern on the back. So this is probably good for everyone if you do like the design. If comparing with the Galaxy S5 with this or the Galaxy S5 Active, we pretty much think that the answer is very clear. Galaxy S5 Active was performance-wise, build quality-wise was amazing. We were totally satisfied. We're gonna recommend it very, very highly. So that was Galaxy S5 Active. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel with the underKG View, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We got all those things. So please do subscribe because we are gonna come back with the more interesting devices and the new devices in the market. Thank you always for watching. Bye.